You're now listening to the Win or Lose Sports Show, talking sports, hip-hop to pop culture. Presented by the 419 Grind. Available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are heard. It's kickoff time.
Hey, Sunday at 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Win or Lose Sports Show.
There we go. Sunday at 6 o'clock. Welcome to the 6:15. Welcome to the Win or Lose Sports Show with myself, Clyde Green, and my brother Jason. Hey. I gotta give you a name. What's your name? I'm just gonna call you Jason.
I got a name.
What's your name?
Just in time.
Oh, okay.
Justin.
It's like the Steelers won today, just in time.
Barely.
Surprisingly.
Shout out to the Tyson Fury. No, the Eagles. The Eagles won today?
Yes, they did.
They barely.
21-18.
Okay, shout out to the Eagles. Shout out to Tyson Fury for the fight last night against Deontay Wilder. Shout out to Jared Anderson.
Yeah, shout out to
man, Jared
his win
Anderson.
last night,
Wow.
yeah.
Hey, why did they keep
That was
fighting?
a
They
good
don't have
fight.
nobody else to fight him and Tyson Fury?
No, they do. He was actually Fury was scheduled to fight Anthony Joshua, and Joshua got knocked out by somebody
He
else.
lost.
Oh.
Joshua's no good. He shouldn't.
He's no good. He's never been no good. He's not a boxer either.
What happened with Deontay?
He's not
a boxer. He got TKO.
It was a good fight though. They was knocking each other down.
There's some big towers.
Yeah, it was a really good
I
fight.
didn't know why they kept having so many back-to-back fights.
I'll tell you why. The first fight was a draw.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Second fight, dude won.
Oh.
Fury won.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's one winner.
Okay.
So the third fight is like
So now they should not
it's over, right? But if Wilder would have won, it would have been a fourth fight.
Oh.
But now it's over. You know, the trilogy's over. He
I don't
won.
think Deontay Wilder won no more of that.
I don't think he won no more anything.
No, he needs to go back and learn how to
His
box.
jaw was moving exceptionally
He
fast.
never moved his head, not once.
He's not a boxer though. That's
Yeah,
why.
no.
He's a tough guy. The tough guys think they can take him
He's a
out.
brawler. He's a fighter. He's not a boxer. So that's going to be the problem with him moving forward. When he was winning all those fights, it was by knockout. Like he's a knockout king. That's you can get that.
And most people, like when they were fighting Mike Tyson, were scared.
Yeah, you see him come, he's a very scary looking.
Yeah, but he's not accurate, and he doesn't know how to box. He will just knock you around.
As he keeps fighting Fury,
Right.
he felt the Fury.
So, Jason, of course, can you rattle off the scores for today?
For sure, we'll rattle off the scores. Should I start off with WNBA?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we have the WNBA Finals. The Sky win.
Chicago Sky.
The Chicago Sky win 91-77 against the Phoenix Mercury.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
The LA Rams.
Shout out to Candace Parker, who moved back, who went back to Chicago to win a championship. They finished the WNBA regular season, fifth seed, Sandy?
Yes.
Fifth seed. Yeah, fifth seed, and beat the number 1 seed to go into the finals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, most definitely.
So shout
I
out.
should have known that because Candace Parker is my favorite WNBA player.
Yeah, mine are Candace Parker and Diana Taurasi, who plays for.
Oh yeah, I used to watch her when she played in
Phoenix Mercury.
Connecticut. And was it Connecticut in college?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I
UConn.
remember watching her for that. Coming up there. But yeah, back to NFL scores. We got the LA Rams beating the Seahawks 26-17. The Falcons beat the Jets 27-20. The Vikings beat the Lions 19-17. Barely, just barely. The Saints beat the football team, the Washington football team, 33-22. The Patriots beat the Texans 25-22. The Bucks beat the Dolphins 45-17. The Packers beat the Bengals 25-22. Good job, Bengals. Packers. We want the Bengals to lose. The Steelers beat the Broncos 27-19. The Eagles barely beat the Panthers. 21-18. Yes, I did about the Vikings and the Lions. And the Texans beat the Jaguars 37-19. Good.
Your team win a football game after 3 weeks. You just don't know that no more.
I'm just saying, it was barely. They barely won.
Y'all barely won.
It was a good game. They were both good games, and I'm glad.
Win is a win. Barely, just barely.
Yeah, you're right.
By the skin of your teeth. How do you make it?
And the funny thing though, the Lions they just keep barely losing.
I know, right?
It's like every week they think they won and then they lose by a field goal in the last second. Like it's heartbreaking.
They used to that kind of stuff though.
They must be.
Hold on for a second. Touchdown, Cowboys. Oh,
Hey.
go ahead.
But yeah, it's, there was a lot of good games, good close games today. It was a fun start for the NFL week.
It was week 4, right?
Week 5.
Week 5.
Week 5, week 9. Sorry.
Well, since it is the WNBA Finals today, I kind of planned it this way. I didn't know the actual game was going to be actually today. But we have Sandi Brown in the building.
Hey, hey.
Hey, we need that applause track.
I know, right?
Thanks, guys.
Sandi Brown, who owns the Toledo Threat.
Yes.
What you just had the first of all, let's go back. I know you've been on the morning show before and everybody pretty much knows you in Toledo, but those who are listening on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Facebook podcast, tell a little bit about yourself, background, where you played, and your coaching experience and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm Sandi Brown. I was born and raised here in Toledo, Ohio. Played basketball, graduated 2005 from Start High School. I went on to play basketball in college at the University of Detroit Mercy on a full-ride scholarship there. Had a little bit of a season professionally in Germany overseas. WNBA tryout back when there was a Tulsa Shock team, and played semi-pro, coaching experience. I do a lot with like younger girls, and then I'm also the owner of the Toledo Threat women's professional basketball team here, and yeah, that's my background very quickly.
So you the owner of the team?
Yes.
What's that like being the owner?
It's interesting. It's something that I know just not anybody can do. You got to really have a lot of patience, a lot of passion behind it too. It's not an easy task, but it gets done for sure.
So you're not the coach though, you're just the owner?
I do not coach our women's pro team, no.
Okay.
No.
How does that work out with you and the coach when the coach might make a decision that you might not agree with? I know that happened a couple of times.
Well, we've actually, our head coach is Bryce McKee. He's known around the Ohio area for sure for women's basketball, for girls basketball. He has his own AAU program. And when it comes to just us with the Toledo Threat, we honestly haven't bumped heads much at all. We pretty much have a really good understanding, and that just comes to me with like just being a good leader and putting people on your team who can share your vision.
Right.
And I think that's important also. So
absolutely.
He and I, we really don't butt heads too often. If there is something that he might disagree or I might disagree, we literally just like talk it out and come to a conclusion. So
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
A lot of older coaches' relationships don't work like that.
Yeah.
That's good to see that, especially at home.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But yeah, so that's me. That's my background really quickly.
You also started the, I know you can't see me, I should move my monitor.
It's okay. I'm like, what did you say?
What was that?
Something black.
Oh, it's all right. It's the hard drive.
Oh.
Not right now.
Well, I plugged it back in.
Oh.
And it just came out. It's okay.
Yeah. So you got the Toledo Threat Fall League.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So back in last year during COVID, in October, we launched our Toledo Threat Girls Development League.
Oh.
So the league itself specifically, people think it's just like a basketball league, but the league itself is filled with different programs and camps, you name it, motivational classes, self-esteem building classes, all types of things for our young girls that we offer in the area. And we actually are going into our last week, next week, of our Girls Fall League. So it was an opportunity for individuals to sign up, young girls, grades 7 through 12, to sign up to actually play in competitive basketball games on full courts, which is a big deal in this area, and compete for 6 weeks before their regular basketball season starts. So it was just a good way to get them some runs in before basketball starts. Yeah.
What kind of turnout did you have this year?
So we had about just shy over a little bit over 100 girls who registered for the league. So we have about 9 to 10 teams that we put together out of those girls, and yeah, it's pretty competitive. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback from parents, especially just how organized the league itself was ran, and it's a good time. The girls are having fun.
Do you see any potential like big players or?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We do have some big name players, high school players who actually signed up to compete in our league, and that's the goal overall. You know, when you're starting something first out and brand new, you're not gonna always get like the top notch best.
Right.
People might want to see what it's like the first year and then maybe come back or come the second year, but. For us, we actually had some pretty big names sign up for the league, and it's been pretty competitive for the most part. Yeah.
What kind of what kind of like challenges like do you think that kind of thing would cause, or like some of the players coming from playing AAU, playing in the fall league, and then going to play for their regular team?
Well, so far the biggest challenge that I've noticed, which is something that I'm praying and I'm hoping that gets better, like in our area. You might have coaches or even parents who might not want their player or their child to participate because of like recruiting that might happen, or they don't want their player to get stolen or, recruited to another team, or, their players and what they have to get like seen before the season starts. And the reason I said I hope that really changes, like back in the day when I was playing, that stuff didn't matter. Right. And I know like things are a lot different now as far as, the rules and transferring and different things like that. So that plays a big part. But at the end of the day, when we're taking away resources and opportunities from players, like telling them not to participate in something or, just because, I think that we really need to, when I say we, I just mean like coaches, players, parents, everyone needs to just kind of take a sit back and really evaluate what's really important. Like the goal is, one, to provide more opportunities and to get these girls more looks. As well. We've had a couple like NAIA, different, coaches, Division II coaches who have been coming to our league. And imagine those players who aren't being recruited right now that didn't participate, who really could have got a chance to better their, career, after high school. So I'm really hoping we get to a point where we really just focus on the development of the player and what's best for the player and move forward that way.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that last week with Dennis about like players having opportunities to showcase their talents and to be seen by different organizations that they might go to in the future. It's different with girls because girls don't have those opportunities.
Exactly.
Like my daughter plays for Wnba, but she's not in it as much as I want her to be in it because there was no like summer AAU programs for her to get into and all this other stuff. She ran track, so there was track AAU, track summer travel teams that she did. Right. So she was more into that because there was more activities for her to get into. Exactly. If there was, there is like your thing, but that's it.
Well, so the Toledo Threat, we're here, yes, but we're just coming in. Like there are other like AU programs that, are in the area. You have the Toledo Thunder, you have HQ, you had Midwest Power, Gary Wolf, he retired after this season. So you have those different AU programs that are there, but I just think the main issue is really just getting the word out there also.
Right, yeah.
Especially within our minority community. I talk about that a lot, which is kind of why we created the Toledo Threat. You have all of these, you have the opportunities out there and most people just don't know about it. We created the Toledo Threat Girls Development League to kind of be that neutral zone to hopefully like get rid of the no, don't go there to that school to a camp because they might try to recruit you. Like we're neutral, we're not a school at all, like so everybody can come.
And what ways do you guys spread the word about the basketball, the triple threat?
So with the Toledo Threat, we have a really big social media platform. Our Facebook page is big for us, Instagram. We have a great relationship with companies like BCSN that will have us come on and broadcast like different events and stuff that we have going the news. I mean, you name it. We have a really good email following too. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things we do whenever we have like events. We make sure we get everyone's email. That way, whenever we have something going on, we always shoot it out in an email. So it gets out.
And how does like with the scouts? I know with your sports history, you probably know a few personal scouts that you can tell to invite out to the games. What about the other scouts? How do you get notifications to them to let them know that you guys are?
So one, I have a really good staff, by the way. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Shout out to my staff, Toledo Threat staff. You guys are dope. Love you guys. But really great staff who actually like takes time. We send out like newsletters, different things like that. Like once every couple months, whenever we have an event or something going on, we actually send those emails out personally to like all the schools in the Ohio area. So whether it's NAIA, D1, D2, like we're always sending that notification out to them. Sweet. Yeah. So we're trying to form like a good relationship to where the Toledo Threat Girls Development will become an overall like recruiting ground for colleges to come for different tournaments and stuff like that as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Toledo Threat like professional team, how do you guys go about recruiting players for that team?
So when it comes to, well, one, we have tryouts every year. So throw that out there just so you guys know. Tryouts usually are in April. We didn't have a season last year or this year because of COVID, but we're back live 2022. So we have tryouts in April, but then when it comes to recruiting, that's usually between like our coaching staff. So, and it's all about just like having the right people on board. You know, you have players like, or coaches like Bryce McKee and Tandy Bradford, who was our assistant coach, and she's now the head coach at Loras University. Shout out to Tandy, who is a big help with the Toledo Threat, by the way. But she, you have those two who just have those connections with girls like in the city or in the Ohio area. Bryce formerly coached different players like Amaris Alston, Alexa Hart, Asia Doss. These are girls who played at Ohio State, Rachel Terrio, Nebraska. So they literally, like in their off season, they'll come and they'll play for like the Toledo Threat. And then we'll also have tryouts to give those other girls opportunities straight out of college to get recruited to play overseas also.
And what's the age group? Would you allow like a 16-year-old to try out to play for you guys?
No. So because we are like an actual and official professional basketball team, so you have to be at least 20, I say 20 of age or older with no college eligibility remaining. Yeah. So like we've had a player before who's came and tried out. She technically still was like in school. She was 20 years old, but we had a conversation with her to make sure she knew like participating in on this team will forfeit any of your NCAA eligibility. Like at all, because it's illegal. You can't play professional and be a part of the NCAA.
Right.
So she had that understanding. She had no intentions to go back to play for college. So she moved forward. But yeah.
So if a female was to come out of high school and just want to play for you and not pursue it in college, is it either or you got to wait till eligibility for college is up? So it depends, and they got to be pretty good too, honestly. And there's a lot of stipulations when it comes to that. So that if she's 18 or older, she has to for sure not be playing basketball at all. And she has to understand that you're literally going to forfeit any type of eligibility. She might change her mind the next year and want to go to school and walk on. Well, if you start with us, you're done. So I wouldn't suggest that at all. Right. That's you wouldn't suggest that, would you?
I wouldn't suggest that at all. But yep, 20 years of age or older with no NCAA eligibility remaining.
How's the team been the last few years before COVID?
2019, we actually finished the champions in our league. Okay. So we actually finished number 1. The team was very successful. We had actually 4 of our players actually previously played in the WNBA. And then one of our players during our season got a call up to the Seattle Storm to try out. So yeah.
So you got WNBA recruiters watching you, but you still have to finish out your NCAA eligibility before you can.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of the same way with WNBA though. Like you have to forfeit any kind of eligibility to play professional anywhere. Yeah. That's
it's like LeBron James. He come out straight to college or straight to high school, straight to NBA. So from high school. So it's like he couldn't just go back and play for Duke or Ohio State.
Right.
Well, legally, with the WNBA, you can't come straight out of high school and play in the WNBA at all. So there's restrictions with that also. So you have to have some college experience.
I don't know why it's different because of the way guys develop physically than the way girls develop physically. Why they can... Is that why they?
I wouldn't say that's why specifically. I think it's just a numbers thing, honestly.
Okay.
When it comes to, I think you got to think of everything like overall when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
Like, you can leave. You don't have to go to college if you're in the NBA. You can come right out of high school and play in the NBA, and you're going to be financially set for a long time.
Right.
Whereas if you come out of high school to go to the WNBA, the maximum salary in the WNBA is not even $250,000.
Right.
So I think they really take that more so into consideration. Like, they rather set the girls up for success,
right,
versus just putting them in a situation where if this doesn't work out for them, they're screwed without even like a degree of some sort or something.
Right.
Now, do I think it's fair? No. But I understand why the rules are the way they are.
Right.
Well, I think even in the NBA changed their rule. You have to play at least 1 year.
Yeah, it's 1 year now. It used to be after LeBron or a year after LeBron. They changed it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit about the WNBA pay wages and the NBA wages. I saw a comparison. I think you've seen the same thing with Sue Bird, who's probably the top earning athlete in the WNBA, and LeBron James.
Yeah.
He makes 20-something million a year, and she makes 220,000 a year, something like that.
So it's like 221, something like that.
Yeah.
Grand a year. That's her max salary.
Right.
It's so funny. Sabrina Ionescu, she was the #1 pick, and her base salary is $69,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, something to think about. I mean, obviously, in the NBA, they play way more games. Obviously, they have way more fan support, endorsements, sponsorships, you name it, whatever. So it all makes sense. Like, I get it. It's just a matter of, for me, when is it going to change? And I'm not one who's to say, like, women should have more or women should have the same. I do agree. But I'm kind of tired of, like, people saying that. Because it's like, okay, like, yeah, we should have the same. So, like, what are we going to do about it?
But do you think that's based mostly on popularity? Because, like, WNBA is popular, but don't too many people watch it after the NBA season's over. It's like, okay, the girls playing.
Yeah.
There's two issues with that. First is the NBA is partner with the WNBA.
Okay.
So the NBA pushes and endorses all the teams and the players in the NBA. The NBA does not do the same kind of push they do for the WNBA. They don't go out and reach for endorsements and get these people to come and sign for the WNBA. That's why they don't have that money.
Wow.
Yeah, but although the NBA actually, like, supports and endorses whatever with the WNBA, for me personally, like, I feel like they don't have to do that because it's its own entity, it's its own organization.
Right.
The WNBA itself should be doing that.
Right.
And it's just crazy because we're just starting to see changes this year, and like between last year and this year for this season, it's the biggest WNBA season sponsorship wise, name it, that they've ever had, and they've only confirmed like 4 sponsorships, 4 major deals. So I think it's Nike, AT&T. I know recently they just confirmed a Google deal. This is the first season we've actually confirmed a significant amount of games with ESPN.
What?
25 games.
Wow.
With ESPN, yeah.
What about Gatorade? Gatorade was for everybody in sports. Especially the women.
But for me, and I'm usually on this side, and people are like, more women should have more, but I just think we should do more to get more.
Okay.
And finally, the WNBA is like making some noise to where they're actually, to me, they've made a lot of adjustments on their staff, and it seems like the staff who's in place right now kind of like know what to do,
right? And
they have the right mindset. So I'm hoping to see more as the years go on.
So that was the problem over the years, is they didn't have the right people in place.
Yeah.
What about their overall depth as a league? Is it enough women, like, to go around? Is enough extra women to maybe create another team where everybody feels secure in the league, surpassing its goals?
So honestly, I really think that that's a huge opportunity with the WNBA. Are there enough players? There's only 32 teams. I mean, there's only 32 games, but there's only 12 teams in the WNBA.
Right.
So you can imagine how short our WNBA draft is.
Right.
Right.
So for me, I really do feel like there should be like a G League for the WNBA, because what's happening is we're losing. And when I say we, like I always speak for women, like together with the WNBA, we're losing our best and some of our really good players to overseas.
Right.
And overseas, as a women's basketball player, you make way more money than what you make in the United States. A lot of the girls have to play, a lot of the women have to play year round.
Candace Parker does.
Yeah, Candace, and it's probably the majority of them who do play year round just to have a respectable salary if they want to just play basketball.
Right.
So a lot of our younger girls, coming out of college, if you think about it, I mean, the WNBA draft it's nothing. And then you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds to thousands of seniors who've just graduated and they're just there.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I really think it would be smart for the WNBA to adopt a G League team, and for me, they might as well get with the league that we're with, because literally like we have a lot of top talent to where they do come and they play for these, semi-pro professional teams, and it would just make sense. We're in a position where we can take care of them financially. Not all the teams are.
Right.
But if we can somehow partner together, I really think that we can keep everything here to where we have more players, we have more teams in the WNBA, things like that. Yeah.
I think what it's going to take is the same thing that it took for the NBA. They came together with the ABA. You know what I mean? So I feel like there should be a whole separate league that's being built for, so we can just have a whole, all these players that are just sitting and not being able to play here, or they're just going over there overseas and playing. They could have a whole league for them here, and then eventually that's built upon, and then it can come together with the NBA, WNBA, and have something bigger.
I think it'll happen. It takes time. The WNBA been around for 25 years now. So, it's long, but it's not long at all.
I remember when they started too.
I remember the first WNBA game.
Yeah, I was excited.
I was thought back to that because somebody was saying the NBA is celebrating 75 years, and I remember when it was the NBA at 50 and everybody was getting honored. They had the jackets. And I'm like, that 25 blew by. Like,
the 50 was the first year for the WNBA.
That's right.
And even with that being said, although it's only been 25, I mean, look at the NBA at 25 years compared to where the WNBA is now. So like I said, like I really do feel like, in order for us to see an effective change in the WNBA, like change has to start at the top. And I really think that that's happening. Then you got to keep in mind too, the ownership of the teams are completely different compared to the NBA as well. So you're kind of working against millionaires who have their own way that they want their programs to be ran, and this and that in the WNBA, and not willing to do this or not willing to do that. And to me, once you get everybody on the same page, it'll just be a lot better.
This is where players should come in. Everybody's talking about black ownership. Okay, black NBA superstar, go buy you a WNBA team.
That's right.
Make it happen.
I think LeBron was talking about that.
Yeah, that would be beautiful.
Kobe was on that run too.
I was going to say Kobe was definitely setting the tone for everybody.
Because he was building for girl to be a WNBA player for real.
Gigi was definitely on that track.
She was on the track.
He was more involved with women's basketball than a lot of people know.
He actually brought attention to the WNBA and women's basketball period, just because his daughter being involved. He gave away, I saw him speaking on panels about women's sports and women's basketball. It was like he took the initiative because his daughter was involved. He didn't have any sons.
Right. He had to.
I understand that.
Choice.
He had no choice. But I understand that because my daughter playing basketball, so that's why I advocate for women's rights and women's basketball, women's sports. So just because I have a daughter who's involved, and I tell her you can do anything that you want to do, sports wise, politics wise, as far as like how smart you are. She's one of the smartest people I know, not just a kid. He's one of the smartest people I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I just love, like we talk about Kobe, he's definitely set the tone for women's basketball and bringing more, recognition to it. But I do love how like players like Chris Paul, LeBron, and different ones have kind of like taken over, like kind of like the job he started to really keep the things going. And then you have so many more now NBA players supporting the WNBA with, whether it's financially or just being there as an advocate. So yeah, I think we're headed in a good direction.
And I ain't gonna say I'm going a little left, but I'm gonna reach out to a different audience because they, I feel like they've been a little sensitive. But the LGBTQ, I don't know how the letters arrange properly. But with transgenders wanting to become more open in sports, and how you feel about that? Like, how would you feel if a transgender woman wanted to be a part of a women's basketball team?
When it comes to that, I honestly don't publicly speak on that.
I respect that.
Because
I respect that.
Not everyone might have the same understanding.
Absolutely.
It might, what I say might get taken out of context.
Absolutely.
So, no comment.
No problem.
But if Wnba Man show up, you like go home, man. Just go home.
Not today.
That's a sensitive.
It's a sensitive issue, but I believe it's something that's going to become bigger as the years and as things
we talked about this before about the transgender who fought in the UFC,
right?
And was end up
not the UFC.
No,
Dana White
MMA.
will not allow it.
Yeah, not in the UFC.
MMA.
I think it was
Bellator.
No, it wasn't Bellator. It was One FC.
It was one,
yeah, One FC. So I don't want to say UFC because I don't want to get in trouble, right? But she fought in One FC, and she ended up bashing a woman's skull.
She broke her occipital, like her whatever this bone is.
Orbital bone, yeah,
orbital bone. Yeah.
But Joe Rogan said on his podcast she shouldn't have been fighting because a man's makeup and his bone structure and his muscle is different from a woman.
And his testosterone.
Yes.
All that.
Now, I don't care how many shots you taking,
how much estrogen
you taking, you're still born as a man, so you have different power skills. But that's all I'm gonna say. So, I don't want.
I mean, it is a very touchy subject, and people stray away from it, but. Some people in that community don't want it to be so touchy, I guess. So.
When it comes to that, when it comes to like physical, like when being violent, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's about safety at that point, and I don't like to see that. But
you definitely went left with that though.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Speaking of left, shout out to the Cowboys, 27-13 over the Giants so far in this game.
So I take it you're a Cowboys fan, Justin?
You know?
Little hat.
I mean, I just kind of assumed all this stuff I see in here.
But let's go back to the WNBA. Candace Parker and the Chicago Sky.
Yeah.
How do you see this series going against the Phoenix Mercury?
Okay, so... One, I was really rooting for the Aces. Shout out to Aja Wilson and Liz Cambridge. You guys played a phenomenal series against the Phoenix Mercury. So I was really going for them. So I'm actually still a little hurt over that. But when it comes to this series, I do expect it to be competitive. Mm-hmm. I am just not sure if the Chicago Sky has enough answers for the big three. So you got Brittany Griner, you got Skylar Diggins, and of course you have the GOAT herself, Diana Taurasi. Right. So you have Candace Parker. You have a few, with the Chicago Sky. She has some great, players around her, but she really still has to do a lot by herself.
A lot, right?
And I'm just not sure if she'll be able to pull it out. But I am rooting for her. You
know what I see on the floor when I see them play? I see Candace coaching on the floor,
exactly
teaching on the floor the whole game.
Yeah.
On and off the court, she's like telling players where they need to be and why they need to be there.
Right. Yeah.
To me, that's good, but to me, that's problematic.
Yeah.
When you have teams like Phoenix, who's a team full of veterans.
So in sync, and
but the thing is, though, she's doing it.
I know, but how long is that going?
She's pulling it off. She only got to do it.
To me, it reminds me of when LeBron was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get his players players. What year was that? In 2000.
Who's this point guard?
2009 when they went to the.
Are you talking about the first?
The first set of.
Oh
yes.
no!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was bad.
With Candace Parker brother on that team.
Yeah. Was his name Smush?
No, that's the other
one.
Yeah, but I forgot his first name. But it's like that team. Like LeBron was on the team, coaching and leading that team the whole way, and they can't win like that.
But the thing is, he's always on every team though.
But I think the problem with that is
there's no experience.
I think the problem with that is players get too common with it, and then the players looking for LeBron for the answer instead of or the players that were looking for Candace, or they're gonna throw the ball to Candace and she's tired because she's been coaching y'all and playing. So
man, listen,
somebody gotta step up.
Candace is Superwoman. You know what I'm saying? Like she about to be out there coaching and playing. I feel like they can pull it off, because it's like, okay, yeah, you do have to rely on somebody out there, but just think, you got somebody out there that you can rely on.
But you know I can see like what Jesse is saying. Yes, like she can do it. She's been doing it. She's been coaching them as she's playing as well. But it would be probably a lot easier for her if she didn't have to do it like almost every possession.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would be easier.
She is coaching a lot, but she still has a good like supporting cast for me from what she's done a good job. She's coached them this far.
Right,
like the Chicago Sky were not even like in the runs for anything
at all.
Right.
And the fact that Candace Parker was able to come in just as that one individual who's a GOAT and a legend and literally completely turn around the entire program. It just, it says a lot about her and who she is. But like I said, I'm definitely rooting for her. I know she's gonna show up.
I think she kind of expected that, being a hometown hero as well, coming back home to a team that and it's great.
I'm sure she expected that.
She geeked up.
She knew what the team was when she decided to go back to Chicago. But I don't think I want her to win. I'm rooting for her.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it's going to be a problem.
The Mercury have a lot.
When you got Diana Taurasi to say, I'm about to take over the game.
Right.
Or when Brittany Griner, who in the last game against Las Vegas, she got 28 points, like 13 rebounds, 4 blocks. What happens when Brittany's doing that against Candace, and then Candace has to play against her and score on offense and keep the team, involved into the game?
What happens when all three of them? Don't let Skylar Diggins get hot
Skylar,
too.
yeah.
And you got Skylar, Diana, and Brittany at the same time. Like I really do think they have a lot. They have a lot. So I'm watching what I say too, because I'm actually cool with some of the girls on the Skylar team. They have the Mercury have a lot of weapons. So I'm just hoping they'll figure it out. Knowing Candace, she probably has been studying their team like the back of her head already and knows them, and has probably found some tweaks or holes and gaps in their offense that they're probably going to focus on. So
they won the first game.
Yeah.
So
handsomely, by the way.
In Phoenix.
Yeah.
So they're playing good. They looked good today.
Yeah.
Candace looked good today. I forgot the girl's name. Allie, the shooter. I forgot her last name, but she looked good.
And that a lot of people, I told everyone, I said, they're at least going to get one. I know for sure they'll get one. Can they do it for the entire series? I don't know.
They stole the one that they were supposed to steal, though.
Game one.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to come in there and steal game one, in their court.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what
come
they
to the
did.
house and dominate.
Yeah.
They won it in an amazing fashion, and it'd be even great. Even more amazing if they could win, game 2, but...
And they won by more than 10 points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but even if you don't, you can go home knowing that you stole one of those games.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that, again, like, I always speak to, like, just the overall. So this WNBA season has just been, like, one of the best as far as supported that the WNBA has ever seen throughout the 25 years. So... this finals actually is on YouTube TV also. I think they're one of their bigger sponsors for the finals was YouTube TV. So just from what they've done, I know they've seen a significant amount of like increase in just like viewers for the playoffs, for the season, finals, everything. So,
and I hope that's not just because people have been cooped up not seeing sports like this. I'll watch anything.
I'm sure because of the changes they've made with the marketing and the sponsorships and all of those
You're
things.
seeing it more, and for me, like, it starts with your marketing. So
and like so you'll see like the YouTube commercial with the I forget what the lady's name is, but the Asian lady, and like she's doing stuff in the house. She's got parties, but she's always watching the basketball game.
Right.
And so when the commercial first came out, it was the Bulls. It was the Chicago Bulls. Mm-hmm. But then now it turned into the Chicago Sky. Mm-hmm. And so they got a commercial that's running constantly.
That's YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Commercial. Yeah. Okay.
And it's like, so it's like you they're out there. You know what I mean? You didn't really see that. Only time you saw it was, okay, the finals are about to start, or whatever. Right. But it ran for the whole season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they need you're kind of saying that the WNBA needs more advertisers that run throughout their whole season to push.
They should advertise. You see NBA players all year.
So we should have some WNBA State Farm players.
Yes,
I mean State Farm.
Exactly. Put them in the subway.
You know who also did it though?
Like Jacqueline from State Farm.
You know who also did it when
from State Farm.
Jacqueline from State Farm.
When TNT hired Candace Parker to be on the panel. Is that TNT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's TNT.
That kind of opened up the doors for people to say, hey, this is a WNBA player, and she's knowledgeable on NBA. She's knowledgeable on a lot of sports. Just talking sports, period. So I think that opened up doors to say, because some men are just, you know how some men are, old-fashioned men who say women shouldn't be on TV, women shouldn't ref football and all this stuff. So I think those men are fading away, and the men who are, what's the word that Dave Chappelle used?
Oh gosh,
feminists.
Feminists, yes.
The feminist men, those are men, not feminist men who support women. Progressive women. That's more of those men are coming out forward and supporting women in what they do.
And I think that not only like marketing wise and like more support, as far as like marketing the WNBA and supporting the league itself, you're starting to see more brands and more businesses reach out to these WNBA players to endorse them also.
Right.
So I mean, Candace Parker is on the cover of 2K.
Yeah.
She's on the cover of a 2K game. I'm not really big on like video games.
NBA 2K.
And now like the WNBA, you can actually like play with the players, the girls on the 2K game, and like even create your own women's players, like all different. So for me, like overall, and then you see Skylar Diggins, different ones, Sabrina, they're all like grabbing. Sabrina actually is with State Farm. They're grabbing all of these different endorsement deals, and now you're starting to see more faces of the WNBA, and I think it, like we talked about, just goes into the marketing piece. Now that you're starting to see it more, no wonder this year was the biggest support that the WNBA has seen.
Put a little money into it.
So stop fighting, y'all.
Sign some of these girls.
Don't be
endorse
out there.
them.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about. How did you feel about the Atlanta team members that got into the fight down there, and now Atlanta doesn't want to? Am I correct? Atlanta don't want to sign them. Or is it both of them they don't want to sign them? Just one.
Correct.
Yeah, it's both of them. One of them is actually from the Toledo area. She's from Michigan, Crystal Bradford. We actually just missed signing her with the Toledo Threat when she was in her off season.
Probably sign now.
Like I said, I mean, I will say this, because again, like I know a lot of these players, so I have to be careful what I say. I don't agree with the decision at all. And I'll say that because there's been so much worse that's happened. And the girls were actually, like, if you actually know the backstory, which I'm not going to speak on it, but they were actually defending themselves.
They didn't instigate
They were being harassed.
They did not instigate
and they had
at
to
all.
defend themselves.
And then one of them wasn't even fighting. She was trying to keep everybody else from fighting.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, like, because we have a lot of NBA players that go out after games or in the off season or whatever and get in altercations. One I remember real well was Paul Pierce getting stabbed.
Yep.
But you hear about this within the NBA league, and sometimes it can be NBA players' fault. I've talked to security guards that work secure all over the country and tell me about plenty of players that that dude ain't even cool. He arrogant. He's a butthole. Like I would hit him in his mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So how do you balance that? Because some players are assholes and just I'm not saying
most of them are not. Most of them don't want to be bothered by certain people because they want to be in their own space because they interact with so many people a day. Like people thought Kobe was an asshole because of how he acted in public sometimes, because he didn't want to be bothered by certain people because everybody is coming at you wanting something or wanting to talk to you. Sometimes you just want to be by yourself.
Yeah, but Kobe, he's not at the bar. You know what I'm saying? Where drunk people want to coach. Hey, Kobe, you're the greatest, man.
That's true.
He's not putting themselves in those environments that will cause him to react.
That's true.
Well, that's a whole. He on a whole different level. He's not just an NBA player. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
And so, like, he can't go anywhere without even calling any kind of scene.
if he could have, he wouldn't have.
Right. You're right.
These girls,
Kobe's personality-wise, he wouldn't.
He
wouldn't even want to be around that.
Yeah.
I would consider these girls superstars just because they're in the on the superstar platform, WNBA. Whether we don't respect it as superstar, they're a superstar.
Okay, but look, this is Atlanta. Atlanta is full of superstars, full of black people who make money and who are famous.
Right.
And so, sometimes you will catch somebody heckling somebody, or these girls were out just trying to have a good time. And somebody want to, be ignorant, and then something happens. And so the team, the organization, they should have a little bit more understanding of what happened.
You feel like they don't have their players back?
They don't. If they just let them go like that, I'm not speaking for all organizations, but in this situation, with this particular organization, they should not have.
They should have supported their
players.
They should have supported
their players.
I agree.
More.
I think they made a mistake because the incident didn't cause for them to be released or anything, because they had a conversation with them back in May,
right,
about what happened in this incident.
It happened so long ago,
right? It was like last year sometime, right? So they had this conversation in May about what happened. They told them what happened. They were being harassed or whatever, and they were trying to. One of the girls was trying to defend themselves, and the other girls were trying to help get the girl away. Mm-hmm. So they had this conversation saying, okay, nothing's going to happen. I'm glad you told us what happened. But now when the video came out, the owner of the Atlanta Dream said, we don't want to sign you.
Which makes zero sense.
Makes no sense at all.
It looked wild. It looked ghetto, but the girl hit her first.
I think that when it comes to like situations like this, and I'm only like thinking of from like an owner perspective, like what would I do if I was in this situation? Now I did say, and I do agree, I don't think that the right decision was made, but I do think that something should have happened to them, but not to this degree.
Right.
I think it was a bit much, and for them to have the consequences that they do, for me it was a bit much. You want to support your players for sure, to let them know you do have their back, so and at least understand the situation, but at the end of the day it still happens, so here's the consequence. Not like, okay, we don't want you at all, like you're out of here. And I think that when it comes to the players specifically, and I'll repeat this to them, at the end of the day, for me, situations can be avoided. So before it got to that degree, although you did have to defend yourself, like you got to ask yourself, when could you have walked away?
Right.
When could you have really like left the situation to where it didn't get to that degree?
Right.
And the fact that you didn't, for me, that should be what should be, that deserves a consequence.
Deserves a decision.
Now, the fact that you didn't make the right decision to walk away, and you had to defend yourself still, it shouldn't have been to that degree.
Right. Yeah. So because
at the end of the day,
think about this. Malice in the Palace.
Yeah.
They was at work.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They were in the game, and they weren't fighting other players. They fought people in the fans. Mm-hmm. They got suspended and fined. Nobody was kicked off the team.
Who got suspended for the rest of the year? Was that
Jermaine O'Neal and Ron Artest?
Two of them. And Steven Jackson got suspended for like 13 games. Or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
But they didn't get released.
Right.
So I think that there's an off balance there. There should have been some kind of suspension, not say we don't want you on this team anymore.
Right.
Now I will say this: I'm a firm believer of this too. And it's something I'm always like on the fence about, because in certain situations I agree with it, but then most situations I don't. As a woman, you have a certain expectation from others to act a certain way in public, like act like a lady, or you know what I'm saying?
What does that mean? Is that offensive now? when somebody says act like Sandy, act like a lady. Don't do that.
If a man tells me that, I'm gonna be like, what? What did you just say to me?
Right,
exactly.
But like if my grandmother or someone like that I respect,
Another lady.
like might pull me aside and say, you're not acting like. I mean, no one would ever have to say that to me. But if that was the case, it would be more received from a woman for me than a man, and I think most women would feel that way.
Right.
But that's just like the expectation for everyone. Like for me, even with the WNBA, like I hate this about the WNBA. Like I love the WNBA. Shout out to you guys. Love the league, whatever. But there's certain like stigmas that they expect women to act like, and at the end of the day, like we're hoopers,
right?
Like we talk junk,
exactly.
We'll get in your face, like we scrap, we do it all, like on the court, just like a man would do. We have that same tomboys. Yeah, well, to a certain degree, I wouldn't say we're tomboys, we're athletes. So we have the same normal, passionate reaction. I'll tell you, people see me, I might be, nice, I'm Sandy, whatever. But on the court, anyone who's played with me know I'm the biggest trash talker, and I own that.
Right.
But when I leave the court, I go back to, throwing on my heels or whatever else I'm doing. But when you're in that moment, you're just in that moment. So if you see like a WNBA brawl or like a WNBA fight or a little push happen, they magnify it to such a huge degree. And I'm like, if this would have happened in the NBA, y'all would have just kept it moving. Like, so for me, this situation is one of those. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like one of those situations where they're magnifying it more. I mean, because how many NBA players really has gotten into like scruffles outside of a club to where they got kicked off a team?
Never. That never happens.
But how often though does it happen?
Maybe one time with Latrell Sprewell. I think he's the only.
Oh yeah,
he was the only one that got kicked off a team.
Well, he was choking coaches too.
He was doing a lot. He was doing too much.
He was from the hood for real.
Yeah, you can't play with him.
He didn't go out to the birds about how
he not play with Latrell.
But do you get what I'm saying? I think because they weren't acting like, I'm not gonna say because they weren't acting like a lady, but there's a certain expectation that the WNBA and just people in general feel like women should act. It's definitely a double standard.
And the thing is like sometimes gender should not even be a factor. You just have people, because when you look at regular like life, you have some girls that they'll talk more shit than anybody you know what I mean, right? Like Desiree, she talk a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's fun. You know what I mean? But some girls ain't like this. Some girls they think they need to sit there and cross their legs and fold their fingers, and that's fine if that's who you want to be. But everybody's not the same. And so sometimes gender just don't matter. Let them be them.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
So since I'm the only female in here, whenever I'm around like a group of men, I always like to get this perspective. So why do you guys, like, what would it take for you guys to be more like supporters? Not saying you're not, but to watch the WNBA more. What is the male perspective? Like, what do you think is missing that would help you or encourage you to watch it more?
I'm going to speak
and be 100% honest.
I'm going to speak because I support the WNBA. Like, I watch it. Every game that I know is on TV, I'm going to watch it. Just because I have a daughter who plays basketball.
Right.
So it's different for me.
Right.
But I'm going to speak on a male's perspective to say that the game needs to be more exciting.
Okay.
Only because they're used to seeing Michael Jordan and LeBron James run up and down the court. And sometimes that's what makes the game exciting, to see a player like that.
Right.
They don't have that type of player in the WNBA, and it can't be that type of player in the WNBA. But it has to bring more excitement to a male's perspective to bring that audience.
Okay.
Here's my answer. So,
and that was such an opinionated answer, by the way.
I know. I mean, not mine.
Because I think that there's so much excitement with the WNBA. It just depends on the type of excitement.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
But this is what I'm thinking. So, I mean, I do watch it. I don't watch it all the time. I don't watch a lot of stuff all the time because I just don't have time. So,
it's like a little caveat.
I fit things in, and so I have to. I'm always going to watch the Steelers game, and I'm going to catch any NBA game that I can. I record them or I watch them on the apps. But so when I watch soccer, I love soccer. I watch men and women. Looks exactly the same. I watch UFC, men and women,
Look
exactly the same.
Yep.
When I watch WNBA and NBA, it don't look exactly the same.
Or the ball are different
And
colors.
so that's not what I am talking
That's a big
about.
difference for sure.
It's a huge difference. And so like I love it, and I love, you know, but it's two different games. It's two different games. And so I feel like that's where the drop off is. It's just the fact that it's almost like watching.
So I just said your opinion, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just looks different, and so that's why the attention isn't there for me. Now, when the reason why Candace Parker is my favorite player is because I watched her come up on the McDonald's Classic and beat all them boys in the dunk contest. And I'm like, what? That was exciting.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have more players like Candace coming up.
But we do though.
So let's get them. Let's see them. That's what I want. If they in the game, I am there. I'm there for that.
My answer is just, I don't know. I think it needs to be more popular for me. In sports like that, sports such as women's basketball, I'm more of a leader than I'm more of a follower than a leader.
Oh.
Like if you and Jay say, "Come on, everybody, watch the game," I might want to watch it, y'all, because y'all making it seem interesting.
Right.
I'm not just about to say, "Let me cut on the women's basketball game," or if I'm
Right.
flicking through channels and the score looking pretty balanced and like a good game, I may watch it for a few minutes and see if it's gonna keep me hyped. If not, I may change it because I don't have to feel the women's basketball like Sandi has to feel the women's basketball. So I really don't even. Oh, they getting, unless I'm seeing it, them getting down. If I'm looking at it, it ain't like Jordan and Barkley going back and forth up and down. It might get boring to me. So I think the popularity of it for me, like I said, this year they had a great year. It was more, more commercials or publications about it or what have you, whatnot. But for me, it's just not as popular.
You need your friends to be watching.
Yeah. That's just.
I get it. No, I just kind of like always want to hear like the opinion from, male perspective. And it's so funny because you guys are all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's more of another thing like we talk about. It's really just not put out there enough.
Right.
Because, yes, the WNBA is different from the NBA. Obviously, like with the NBA, you got guys dunking the ball, going above rim. You're constantly seeing more transition basketball. You have two like franchise All-American, All-Star players, who you're, on each team who you're like really rooting for. LeBron James, AD.
Layup is cool, but a dunk is dynamic.
Yeah, and for me, like, then you have the WNBA where it's still transitional basketball. Like, you're still pushing the ball. It's still going at a fast pace. I think what the difference is, though, you're just seeing more people touch the ball. It's more, for me, the WNBA plays more a collective team basketball versus, like, the NBA where you'll get more of, like, that one-on-one, crossing somebody, rocking somebody type, like, highlight plays.
To be honest, the NBA's image has changed a lot since Steph Curry. So there's more of the three ball.
The 3-point.
Kevin Durant.
More isolation.
More ISO, more three balls, more Kyrie, more KD. Then you see LeBron dunking or Michael Jordan dunking the ball. So I think that's why the WNBA has become more popular over the last few years, because that's the same game.
Yeah, they're doing the same.
It's the same thing. You shoot the 3-point.
Yeah.
Now the WNBA 3-pointer is the same range as the NBA 3-pointer. Most people don't even know that because they don't watch the game.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
facts.
I didn't know
distance.
that, Jesse.
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
it's the same. Well, when they first started, it was 20.
It was
21 feet or 19 feet.
Yeah, it was just barely above the top of the key.
Yeah. So now it's like the same same
23
measurement.
feet?
So you have those spectacular
Top of
players
the
who can
key is
shoot
19, I think.
behind the line like Skylar Diggins,
Right.
who can shoot the like 30-foot 3-pointer.
Right.
Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, Diana
Bird,
Taurasi.
everybody.
Yeah, Sue Bird.
Did you guys know that in 2019 there was a female player who actually won the McDonald's All-American Dunk Contest?
No.
In 2019?
Yeah.
I think I
Who's
do
that?
remember hearing about
Fran
it. but-
Bellaby?
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she
I'm gonna have
goes
to go
the
back and
University
watch
of
it.
Stanford. She's a beast. She didn't have the most amazing season her freshman year in college, but McDonald's All-American, I covered the whole dunk contest. She was phenomenal. And for me, I'm more excited about the players who are venturing into the WNBA. We have obviously a lot of talent in the WNBA, but these girls that are coming up, like through college ball is what y'all should be watching.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Because it is like phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
I
it
will
is,
watch
for me,
some
it is
college
exciting.
basketball.
I mean, you know, even with South Carolina and Zaya Cook and everyone, different ones. But yeah, there's way more girls who can dunk the ball, and just in general. You see more, you know, girls getting crossed, more of the twin legs in and out. The Euro, you see more of all of that with the classes that are actually up and coming as well in the WNBA too. So I always like ask that, and for me, I'm like, it's coming. It's here for me, but it's coming for
If
y'all.
you want to see some female ballers, go follow Beautiful Ballers on Instagram and She Got Game on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I follow
Beautiful Ballers and She Got Game.
Yep, it's another one. I'll let y'all know what it is. But that's why I know all these players.
Yeah, yeah.
Just from those Instagram pages.
Yeah.
So we got like 5 minutes to go.
Okay.
Oh, was that our buzzer?
That was our buzzer. I stole that from Sandy.
That is
Sandy.
Yes.
So let's talk about some of the players that are in Toledo or from Toledo. So you got Natasha Howard, who plays for the New York Liberty now.
She's a beast.
Yes.
Zaya Cook, who plays for South Carolina.
She's a beast.
Who's the girl that used to play for? I'm sure you know this girl. She just signed with Oregon.
Grace Smith-Luton.
Grace. Oh my God.
Yes.
I know her because my daughter played against Ottawa Hills.
Okay, yeah.
And she was a beast at
In junior high.
12, 13 years old. She was like 5'9" then.
Yeah.
Point guard. Yes. 5'9"
What?
point guard in junior high.
She's at
Oh
least
my
like
goodness.
6'3"
She's like
now.
6'3" now. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
That's
So,
different.
and she's trained by Lionel Armstead, who trained my son and my daughter. And he's a beast. So she is like one of the best players I've ever seen.
so she playing like KD type.
She's a beast.
Man, I gotta
got
see
it.
her.
So
She's
what do you
definitely
think?
got it.
Yeah, what
And
do
her
you think of
sister
those?
is right behind her too, Sophia
Yeah.
Smith-Luton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
she's good too. What do I think about?
All three of them.
Well, obviously, I'll just because you finished with Grace, I'll speak on her. Obviously, Grace, for me, she's definitely going to set like a new tone for girls basketball, women's basketball, especially from Toledo. She's a phenomenal player. I've actually seen her in action a lot of times, cover a lot of her games with BCSN, and she's literally like just the overall player. She can handle the ball. She can bring it up, point guard, shoot the three. She'll back you down in the post, hit you with a fadeaway. Mid-range is nice. I mean, she's just collectively like a great player. I'm definitely expecting to see her do like really good things at Oregon for sure. She's going to be a great representation. Zaya Cook, I mean, what can you not say about Zaya? You know, we've heard the name, super familiar. I think Zaya is going to be one of those game changers for the WNBA as well. And I say that very confidently between like her with her class that's coming out with her. Those group of girls, they're on a different level mentally. I don't know if I follow Zaya on Instagram, and she's always like confirming like I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Yeah.
And I really think that the game by the time she gets there will probably
gonna
be
Be at that level. Yeah.
to where she can be a millionaire.
I feel like she might come into the WNBA like Iverson did.
Yeah.
That's
No,
how I feel. Like. I
seriously.
feel like she may be our female Iverson.
Yeah.
Man, look,
Yeah.
she
WNBA.
looks so much better than everybody else out there. Like it's just when she got so much more energy,
And-
so much more handles, so much more everything. Like
I don't want
it's
to
just,
cut. I hate to cut you off, but remember the scene we was watching the NCAA, and the same way y'all just earlier spoke about Candace Parker. That's how I felt about Zaya in those games. The team became so dependent on her when it was time to take the game. When
Yeah.
the shot they didn't know what
Yeah.
to do. The game would give it to Zaya. Just give it to Zaya.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Zaya was clearly tired.
right.
She accepted her role.
Yeah, she had 31 points that game.
But
Right.
she was clearly tired. So when
Now
y'all was
she
speaking
gonna
of
make
Candace,
sure
that's how I was feeling
She
about
gonna
her.
make sure she's not tired now.
Right.
She gonna get that conditioning.
Yeah, I think between obviously Zaya, she's phenomenal, and I love what she does. She comes back and always, you know, shares with the community, and she had the big camp this year for, you know, giving back as far as providing just opportunities for girls, which was great. So she's phenomenal, like I said, and just remember that I said this. I feel like between Zaya Cook and the rest of her class that's going to come out with her, I think they're really going to be the game changers with the WNBA.
Yeah.
Natasha Howard, I mean, what can you not say about her? Three-time WNBA champion,
Man.
all defensive player, WNBA All-Star. She's also, I mean, I hope I'm not putting her business out there, but it's public news. She's one of the top paid players in the WNBA, top 10. So
she earned it.
Yeah, she definitely earned it.
Yeah, she earned it with her
should
accolades.
be probably paid a lot more, just like the rest of them. But I think that one, I will say, always say this, and I always give this individual like her flowers whenever I talk about, you know, all the former players who came, you know, or who are in the WNBA. Kamisha Harrison. Yeah. She's so silent that a lot of people kind of almost forget about her, and I have no idea how, because she literally set the tone for all of us. And she was, for me, someone who I looked up to as far as basketball wise. And, you know, a lot of people, when Natasha got to the WNBA, like, wow, she's the first. No, Kamisha Harrison set the tone for all of us. And, you know, she played for the Sky also, and a few other teams. She played with the Sun, I think, as well. She would have had a more lasting, longer career, except she got an injury with her knee.
Did Erica Haney make it to the WNBA?
I don't think
so. I think she played overseas.
Yeah, she did play. She played overseas. Yeah,
but she was an outstanding player in college.
I mean, there are tons of female players. Actually, there's probably more female players that come out of Toledo that make it to the league and make it big time than there are male players.
At least make it to the tops, the bigger schools.
Because mainly because of discipline. Yeah. Because girls, we know, are more disciplined than guys when it comes to education, when it comes to school. So that's why I commend female athletes in whatever sport that they're in.
Yeah.
I try to push my daughter to whatever sport she wanted to do, basketball, track, volleyball, whatever. So that's why, you know, I respect Sandi and what you do with the Toledo Threat, with the Fall League, and anything else that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Can I say one more thing really
any
quick?
Last words?
Only because, like, any interview I've been doing lately, I've just been giving my sister her flowers, and I think the city of Toledo really needs to give my sister her flowers as well. Her name's Wnba Brown. She is the only female ever to be a head coach in the Big Ten.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Iowa?
She coaches, she's the head coach at the University of Iowa. Yep.
I'm watching them.
Yep. And as far as volleyball goes, volleyball is her sport. And for me, you know, she came out of Toledo. She played professional volleyball for so long. And she got into coaching. She's been a head coach. And now she's like, you know, her dream job. She would actually kill me if she knew I was saying this, because she's very humble and she doesn't want a lot of attention, but she's just done so much. Like the Big Ten just honored her actually a couple weeks ago, being the only like African American coach and different things like that. Yeah. So shout out to Wnba Brown.
Shout out Vicky. Y'all come on the show.
Job,
yes,
Vicky Brown.
yes.
Yeah, come on the show.
Your sister just got your interview.
Don't be mad at her either.
She just got your interview with the 409 guy.
But no, but thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
it's always a pleasure hanging out with you guys.
I got a question real quick. I read that you got 6 steals in one game.
Who? Me?
Yeah.
That's probably true.
That's all.
You don't remember it? 6 steals in one game? That is crazy. I would remember that. I was going to ask you, do you remember and what happened? How did that happen? But
probably happened so many times.
Yeah, that was kind of the norm.
That was the norm. Yeah, I was reading your stats and I saw like you was kind of more of a defensive kind of person.
Defense was my thing. I turned it to more of an offensive player, honestly, my junior and my senior year. But I was more known for
shutting people up. Shut up for
rebounds,
talking junk,
steals, blocks
in your face. What?
I'm like,
what
man, yeah, she was doing her thing. Okay,
yeah. Sorry, I don't really talk about the basketball side of me a lot. Everybody always asks. I'm like, I don't know, because I do so much other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. It's about my thug.
I don't talk about that life no more. I left that behind.
I changed our coach.
I changed my ways.
I organized.
I don't tear it down. I organize.
But I will put on some shorts if you test me.
I always keep the shoes in the trunk. Always.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You get it in.
So this has been a great show. Thank you, Sandi.
Thank you,
this did not air live on Facebook, but I'll air it live at 8:00. So
okay.
So we can go back and watch it. You can listen to this on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Facebook Podcast. Now you can go to our Facebook page, 419 Grind, and listen to our shows along with watch.
Nice.
So next week we'll have Albert Bell on the show before his fight in Arizona on the 22nd. So.
Nice.
Shout out again to Big Baby. Speaking of fights, that was a great
Oh
fight.
my
Big Baby for that
God,
win.
he overwhelmed the guy.
He's 10-0, 11-0 now.
10-0 now.
10-0 now.
knockouts.
And
all knockouts.
Albert Bell is going for 21-0.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so.
Shout out to AB.
And one more thing before we go, Cleveland Brown fans, I feel you. It was devastating. But y'all tried. Hell of a game.
Good job losing
Hell of a
today,
game.
Cleveland. I love it.
I want to try
love
to
it.
win. Y'all. That's a shootout.
Yeah, it was a
That was
shootout.
rough.
Hey, watch the WNBA finals. Tune in.
Yeah,
all next week.
it's a good
week
one.
Ain't no
after.
game tonight for them, is it?
They already
It was
played.
tonight.
Oh, they play. I'm sorry.
That was game 1.
Yep.
So until next time, we'll see y'all next week.
Peace out.
It's Win or Lose Sports Show.
Yeah.